Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Guys, have been wrapped up, as it was the week before, in Upper Wisconsin, but I'm trying to renovate one of my kids' rooms, and so that just got done. And so I apologize for not getting a video in the last few days, but we're going to do one today. And we're back on the system, starting to get back into the teaching and all kinds of other stuff that I do as an kind of an independent contractor. And we're going to talk today about the difference between a man and a boy when it comes to semen retention. And first of all, I want to say thank you to all the people subscribing, commenting, liking, all the things that you guys are doing, because it is just wonderful to see that this information is helping. I think we're at 493 subscriptions, which is great. That was the first goal I think we're trying to achieve, is to get to 500 and then kind of move from there. And then the second one basically is trying to just keep our streak going. And we just hit 800, which I think is wonderful. And so we're going to keep doing that as well. And so I thank all you guys for all your support and understanding in all these situations. And hopefully we're all going to continue moving on this streak, together, and everybody's going to be moving ahead, achieving their goals, and doing the best that they can. All right, so the idea is we are talking about excellence, being an excellent warrior. And I think that takes time and effort. But I think the key is going to be of your ability to mature when it comes to discipline. And discipline is the whole key to what we're talking about. And as we talked about before, it takes a lot of self-control to even start your whole idea of retention. It takes a lot of willpower to say, no, I'm not going to go ahead and do this, or I'm not going to go ahead and look at these pictures. I'm going to stop before I get into a dangerous situation, right? I know a friend of mine has been trying to work on this, but, and it was like I was when I was in my 20s. They want to put pictures of girls on the walls and things like that. And even though that's a normal thing for a lot of young men to do, it is a very tempting type of thing. And so you see the difference between when I was a boy, and I'm kind of not putting age on this, because age itself is not the key thing to me. It's not really a matter of biological age. What I'm really talking about is the maturity you have. I would say, and I'll just take myself, because I don't want to make any kind of judgments on anybody, but the idea is that I basically, I really did not become what I would say a man when it comes to semen retention until I was 57, around there. So really I was a boy for many, many years, because the difference between the two is that men realize that they have sacrifices, and they have to have sacrifices. Boys don't have the kind of sacrifices, and they're still growing to become men. So, you look at the Roman Empire, you look at the warriors, and the young boys don't have that kind of responsibility, and they don't have to make these kind of sacrifices. Now, I'm not saying that men are, as far as everything else goes, obviously men are, we are, once we hit 21, 22, now we get responsibility and family and kids and all that kind of stuff like that, and jobs and things like that. I'm just kind of talking about maturity in the realm of semen retention. And I think that that's going to also help you, obviously, in realms and everything else. So I would always say that I've just become a mature semen retention person over the last couple years, last 800 and now 1 day, right? 800 days. Because I think the idea is that in order to really kind of fully understand the whole situation we have, you have to understand that it takes maturity to have self-discipline, self-control. And once you have that level of self-control, you can use that level of self-control for a lot of different things. It just is not going to use for semen retention. That's a start. But then you're going to go back and keep in your rhythm of doing like the exercising, like I do with the Fountain of Youth stuff. When you're talking about the weight training, fasting, and I know Kirby, I got to get back to you. He wanted one on fasting, and I want to do that. I just haven't had a chance to. That'll probably be my next one. I'll probably do that tomorrow. But the idea is that you're talking really about making the commitment. And I think, again, when it comes between boys, we'll talk about Roman soldiers and boys. They don't have the level of understanding of commitment that we do when we get matured. And I think when it comes to semen retention, a lot of us have to realize that, we can dabble around, even though it's tempting. We can do these type of things, but in the long run, we have to kind of sit back and say, okay, look it, I'm a man now when it comes to semen retention. I don't need to do these type of things. There is no purpose for me to do these things. I mean, guys, when you really look at this situation, let's examine that for a second. I think it's really something. This is where I started getting to really an understanding of idea of what really is going on here. One day, I think I sat there and I said to myself, and this was probably mid-50s or something like that, I said to myself, what the heck am I really doing here? This is when I kept going back and forth thinking, there's something wrong with this whole scenario. I mean, there's something wrong with the fact that I sit there and, I'm trying to, become an effective person by losing my energy all the time. It was at a point, not only having the anxiety and having the other types of things that were along with it, but the idea is that I really kind of said, what am I doing wasting this energy? And I found myself then being addicted into the pictures and going back into that and not being able to stay away from that and start drawing away from that. And once again, as we talked about many times, once you're into this, and once you see it, you're really kind of clouded. You're kind of brainwashed into it, and you don't really see what you're doing. And as a result of that, what ends up happening is that you end up having a problem because now your brain is kind of rewired. And all you're thinking about is that next picture or next release. And all of a sudden, now you're getting deeper and deeper into this, and it's harder and harder, and all of a sudden now you're losing yourself, and you're trying, and the devil gets a hold of you, and the evil one is basically saying, okay, why don't you do something? You need to have a little higher excitement, so let's get more deviant, and more deviant, and all of a sudden now you're at a different point where the normal stuff wasn't happy. Now you're doing all kinds of stuff, and you're becoming more and more debased as time goes on. And this is what was happening, and I had to just kind of, stop, because I was, in my 20s and 30s, and it was just, it overcomes you, and so you have to be careful. So the difference, bud, is that even though I started getting maturity in other aspects of my life, the idea is that, you need to really kind of control this, and I wasn't doing that until I was in my mid-50s, and I finally said to myself, what am I really doing throwing this stuff out? And it's, washing the freaking bed sheets all the time, and washing this and washing that, and it just makes no sense at all. And so this is when you have to kind of say to yourself, okay, at some level, what is this all about? And I finally realized that this is doing no good. In fact, I sat there, and as I started reading more about this is back a few years ago, I started reading more about this, I had the point of saying, this is just hurting me. This is really not what they say it is. It's the opposite. And I think this is when I started getting into the idea of understanding how the blue matrix is working, is that how people are deceiving us, and for what a reason, whether it's a political reason or whether it's something they're trying to make money off of us on a product, whatever it might be, they're trying to sell you certain things. But don't buy it. Don't buy it, my friends. And what you have to realize then is really get the information, research it out, find out what is best for you, and find out those type of things that can make you more effective and make you a stronger type person. And that doesn't mean going ahead and losing your energy and wasting it on certain things you're doing. Okay. All right. So anyway, I wanted to kind of touch base. Day 800, I think, fits into this idea as well. I think as time goes on, your maturity level, you're able to realize the long-term picture, especially when it comes to retention. And I think as a man, as a strong warrior, you become battle hungry, and you know that the battle tested, and you get, you're in these battles for years and years and years, and you realize that it's not that important to go ahead and release. Actually, it's the opposite. And what I found in the last 2 years, all the benefits of great focus, great health, great attraction, all these type of things that you have. And the main thing, and I know there's a couple of people had comment about this as well, is relationship to the Lord. And this is why I'm doing it, because my lifelong type of goal has been to get closer to God. And ever since I became saved many, many years ago, that was my goal. And so I think this is one of the things that I came to eventually, saying this is one of the ways to do it. I've seen many people talk about this, and I think I am feeling it. Little by little, I'm getting closer. Now, I'm only in year 2, and I think, was it Malcolm X or a few other people said it takes 10, 12 years, but that's okay. This is a start, and we're going to get there. And so we're an evolution type process that we're going to continue to work at that and get better and better as we go along. So, but the benefits of 800, I think, again, are the same benefits that we've had. Now, they're not as extreme, because I think that once the first 2 weeks go through, you're at a point where, you're experiencing something totally different. Once again, like I said, your brain gets rewired. And when your brain gets rewired, you have to rewire it back. And that's gonna provide you with some excitement, happiness, things like that things are changing. And I think that's part of the whole picture of what you're doing. So you have to kind of realize that too. So, and then, as this goes on, you're going to change again, and you're going to have to rewire your brain again to be able to focus on it differently. So, all right, my friends. Well, this is our message for today. Like I said, I apologize. I'm starting to get back into the rhythm again today, and see if we can try to do at least one a day if we can, and at least contact you guys to kind of touch base and make sure everybody's doing pretty well. So, guys, I want you guys to have a great day today. Today, I think, is August 16th, 2022. So have a wonderful day, and keep battling on. And God bless you guys. God bless you. Battle on.